village green, under the baobab, where old tales gleam. Cece gathers folks, young and old, stories of love.
In the serene village of Hakuri, nestled within the rolling hills of northern Nigeria, life moved at a pace dictated by the rhythms of nature and the traditions of the land. The villagers lived simple lives, their days marked by the rising and setting of the sun, the planting and harvesting of crops, and the communal celebrations that brought them together. Among these villagers were two children, Amina and Hossan, whose bond was as natural and unspoken as the flow of the river that meandered through their village. Amina, the daughter of the village's only school teacher, was a bright and inquisitive girl with a thirst for knowledge. She was known for her sharp mind and her compassionate heart, always eager to help others and defend the weak. Hassan, on the other hand, was the son of a farmer, a quiet and introspective boy who expressed himself through art. His drawings captured the beauty of their village, from the lush greenery to the vibrant market scenes, and his talent was admired by all who saw his work. From a young age, Amina and Hossan were inseparable. They explored the fields and forests together, shared secrets and dreams, and provided each other with the kind of unwavering support that only true friends can offer. Their bond grew stronger with each passing year, evolving into a deep and abiding love that seemed destined to last a lifetime. But fate, with its capricious nature, had other plans. Years later, Amina stood in her office in Lagos, overlooking the bustling city below. She had fulfilled her childhood dream of becoming a lawyer, dedicating her life to the pursuit of justice. Her success was hard-earned, built on years of relentless study and determination. Yet, despite her professional achievements, a part of her heart remained in Hakuri, bound by memories of a simpler time and a love that had never truly faded. One day, as she was preparing for an important case, a letter arrived from her mother. The familiar handwriting brought a flood of emotions, and Amina's hands trembled as she opened the envelope. The letter spoke of the village's preparations for the annual Yam festival, a tradition that Amina had cherished as a child. But it was the mention of Hossan that caught her attention. "Hossan has returned to the village," her mother wrote. "He has been staying with his uncle, but he seems different, troubled. Perhaps you could visit and see for yourself." Amina's heart skipped a beat. She had not seen Hossan in over a decade, not since the tragic event that had torn them apart. The thought of facing him again, of confronting the past, filled her with both dread and anticipation. She knew she had to go back, to seek closure for the wounds that still festered in her heart. The journey to Hakuri was both familiar and strange. The landscape, with its verdant hills and clear streams, had not changed, but Amina felt like a stranger returning to a place she once knew intimately. As she approached the village, memories of her childhood flooded back, and she felt a pang of nostalgia mixed with sorrow. Her arrival was met with warm embraces and curious glances. The villagers had always held her in high regard, proud of the girl who had gone to the city and made a name for herself. Her mother welcomed her with open arms, but there was a shadow in her eyes, a silent understanding of the pain that Amina carried. "Hassan is at the old art studio," her mother said gently. "He spends most of his time there." Amina nodded, her heart heavy with the anticipation of seeing him again. The studio, once a place of joy and creativity, had become a sanctuary for Hossan, a refuge from the demons that haunted him. She made her way there, her footsteps hesitant but determined. When she arrived, she found Hossan sitting at a worn wooden table, sketching with an intensity that bordered on desperation. He looked up as she entered, and their eyes met for the first time in years. The silence between them was thick with unspoken words, a chasm filled with pain and longing. "Amina," he said finally, his voice tinged with both surprise and sadness. "Hassan," she replied, her voice steady despite the turmoil within. "It's been a long time." He nodded, his eyes reflecting a mixture of emotions. "Too long." They sat in silence for a moment, each lost in their own thoughts. The studio, filled with Hassan's drawings and paintings, seemed to echo with the memories of their shared past. Finally, Amina broke the silence. "Why did you come back, Hassan?" he sighed, looking down at the sketch in front of him. "I had nowhere else to go. The city, it wasn't for me. I needed to come back, to find some kind of peace." The days that followed were filled with conversations that delved deep into their shared history. They spoke of their childhood, of the love that had once bound them, and of the tragedy that had torn them apart. Slowly, the barriers that had grown between them began to crumble, replaced by a renewed sense of trust and understanding. One evening, as they walked through the village, they passed the old well where they used to play. The sight of it brought back a flood of memories, both happy and painful. Hassan stopped and looked at Amina, his eyes filled with a mixture of determination and vulnerability. "Amina, there's something you need to know," he said quietly. "About the night of the fire. It was the event that had changed everything, the tragedy that had shattered their families and driven them apart." Amina's heart pounded as she nodded, urging him to continue. "It wasn't an accident," Hassan said, his voice trembling. "It was set deliberately." Amina felt a chill run down her spine. "But why? Who would do such a thing?" Hassan looked away, his expression tortured. I don't know. But I have a suspicion. I think it was someone trying to get back at my father." Amina's mind raced as she tried to process this revelation. The fire had destroyed not only their homes but also the bond between their families. If it had been set deliberately, it meant that there was a deeper, darker truth that they had yet to uncover. "We need to find out the truth," she said, her voice steady with resolve. "We owe it to ourselves and our families." Hassan nodded, his eyes reflecting the same determination. "Yes. We need to uncover the secrets that have been hidden for too long." Their investigation led them to old records and forgotten memories, piecing together the puzzle of the past. They spoke to villagers who had been there that night, who had seen or heard things that had been dismissed or overlooked. Slowly, a picture began to emerge, one that pointed to a feud between their fathers that had been simmering beneath the surface. Amina's father, the school teacher, had been a man of principles, strict and unyielding. Hassan's father, the farmer, had been more flexible, willing to bend the rules to get ahead. Their differences had led to conflicts, but Amina and Hassan had always believed that their fathers respected each other despite their disagreements. But as they delved deeper, they uncovered evidence of a rivalry that had been more bitter and personal than they had realized. Their fathers had competed for a contract, one that would bring significant benefits to the winner. In the end, Amina's father had won, but the victory had come at a cost. With their newfound knowledge, they decided to confront their parents. It was a difficult and emotional process, but it was necessary. Their fathers, both now older and wiser, were forced to face the consequences of their actions. Amina's father admitted to the bribes and threats, his face etched with guilt and regret. Hassan's father, in turn, confessed to setting the fire in a moment of anger and desperation. The weight of their confessions hung heavy in the air, a stark reminder of the pain they had caused. But Amina and Hassan also saw an opportunity for reconciliation. They encouraged their fathers to seek forgiveness, not only from each other but also from the community. It was a long and difficult journey, but slowly, the village began to heal. As the Yam festival approached, Amina and Hassan found themselves standing side by side, their bond stronger than ever. The journey they had undertaken had been painful and arduous, but it had also brought them closer together, allowing them to rediscover the love that had once defined their lives. On the night of the festival, they stood before the villagers and shared their story. It was a story of love and loss, of betrayal and redemption. They spoke of the importance of forgiveness, of the need to confront the past in order to build a better future. The villagers listened in rapt silence, their faces reflecting the emotions of the tale. When Amina and Hassan finished, there was a moment of profound stillness, followed by a wave of applause and cheers. The village had been reminded of the power of love and forgiveness, of the strength that comes from facing one's demons and seeking reconciliation. As the festival continued, Amina and Hassan stood together, their hearts lightened by the knowledge that they had done the right thing. They had uncovered the truth, confronted the past, and helped their village heal. And in the process, they had rediscovered the love that had always been their greatest strength. The journey was far from over, but they knew that they could face whatever challenges lay ahead.
Folktales by CC, whispered by wind.